sir?
I'm well, Ash. How are you?
I'm very, very well, Raghav. We are, just so everyone knows, where are you calling from?
I'm calling you from Calcutta, India, where I'm setting up a factory for our company.
Okay, so we're going to shift and shift our focus to India. It's been a while since I've been to Calcutta. It's way before COVID, so it's been around 5 years. And I love the food there. I really enjoyed my food there. I don't know why. I just had a really good time. I'm sure it's known for other things, but for me, I really enjoyed the cuisine. But we're not going to talk about Indian cuisine. We're going to talk about you and the next company. Okay. And so what we're going to do is, as always, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to have our amazing hyper accelerator cohort listening into your pitch. We're going to try to dissect it a little bit. And if you would like, I'm happy to pitch your idea back to you. All right. So is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's rock and roll. Good afternoon. Good evening. It should be good night there right now. Am I right? Is it good night there right now? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm just trying to get my time zone. I'm like, where is it? I'm in Singapore right now, so it's actually earlier in the day. Sorry, I apologize. Okay. Good late evening, sir. My name is Ash Singh. I am a veteran in the industry and as well as an investor. Tell me about the next company, how you're changing the world, and would love to hear what you're building, sir. Go ahead.
Well, thanks for having me here, Ash. I'm the founder and CEO of the next company. And we're a sports tech business that makes products for players who want to track their performance. So our first products are a football and a wearable player tracker, both of which have sensors inside them that collect and relay data in real time. Now, these sensors capture two kinds of data: positioning data and inertial movement data. By combining the two, we can analyze players' match performances, such as passes, shots, goals, as opposed to conventional products that can only track players' athletic performances, such as running distance and speed. Now, given the depth and accuracy of the data that we collect, we don't just stop at counting the number of passes or shots made by a player. We also create comparative analytics for players to rank their abilities in comparison to each other and also in different playing positions so that teams can take decisions on which players to select in each position on the field. We also are able to calculate predictive analytics, such as a player's goal value added or expected pass value, which is used to analyze a player's decision-making ability on the pitch. Now, one reason why you should invest in us is that we built the entire tech stack and made all of our prototypes ourselves with our own hands. This gives us a very favorable cost structure, the benefits of which we intend to share with our customers. So football, it costs us 35 euros to make, and a player tracker costs us 20 euros to make. We believe we can sell both for 90 euros each. And at these prices, they are within the range of no-tech footballs, although on the higher end of the range. Now, all in all, the value proposition that we are taking to market is that amateur football teams can buy and use our products to receive professional level analytics at prices similar to regular footballs and GPS trackers that they use today. Now, we're raising 1 million to make certain capital investments to achieve the cost that I mentioned earlier. And our goal is to get to market by the second quarter of 2023 and have 2,000 players using our trackers by the end of the year.
Got it. Got it. Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's get some feedback in. You know, obviously sports has changed since I played soccer, but very interesting. Let's try to unpack this. Feel free for any of the feedback in the chat on this. And so my question is, I want to, there was a lot of information in the beginning. I felt like the features component was a little bit heavy, like we kind of spent a lot of time there. And I kind of wanted to, I know you mentioned there was two types of trackers. There's like the player tracker, and what was the other one?
It's a football with sensors inside.
Oh, so the player tracker and the equipment tracker, right? The ball tracker, is that right?
Right.
The ball tracker. Got it.
Well, just to be clear, it's a ball with a sensor inside. There's no way to put the sensor inside once the ball is made.
Yeah,
So
I
the ball
understand.
will come
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the track.
understand. Because I'm trying to like I'm trying to figure out, as part of your pitch, it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's kind of obvious that, technology is going to start injecting itself on the soccer pitch, right? On the football pitch. My question and where my mind is from an investment perspective is, how is this going to 2x, 3x, 4x the performance and the outcomes for an amateur football team? Right? Does that make sense? How does that actually? No, obviously people aren't going to go 4 times faster. No one's going to run 4 times faster. No one's going to kick the ball 4 times faster. But I'm trying to kind of really zero in, because when we think about amateur football, I'll tell you where I got lost is it's a really big ocean. Do you get what I'm saying? Amateur football. And I'm trying to figure out like how it would work. And where my mind went was, you have your tool and it turns into a real-time coaching and a real-time training app. Does that make sense? Or coaching when they're playing a game, and when they're not and they're practicing and training to get better, it's a real-time training app, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah. And then the last piece is when with the real-time coaching, it's kind of like it's a data science play, correct? It's a data science play, because you're kind of looking at everything in real time and recognizing that, Ash ate way too much fried chicken. He's a great player, but he ate fried chicken yesterday and he's really slow in the beginning. Let's get him out, right? Which is what usually happens to me when I play team sports. I eat the wrong thing the day before, but I want to kind of understand how this is going to, because I know it's there, but I felt it didn't come out. And I want to know what that is. Do you know what I mean? Like, is it like, when we think about the whole amateur space, the idea of getting, a typical team that's going to make the playoffs, and that's going to have a cash incentive or some sort of upside incentive to the semi-pro amateur. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that, does that make sense? I wanted to get that from you, right? So go ahead.
So the way we can help teams improve their performance is on 2 levels, an individual level and a team level. So
Yes.
At the individual level, with predictive analytics such as goal value added or the expected pass value, what we can analyze is a player's decision-making ability on the pitch. So let's say you're playing football and there are 2 players who you could potentially pass the ball to. There is a difference in the success probability of passing the ball to each of those players, and also a difference in the success probability of each of those players scoring a goal.
But now, sorry, can I tell you, sorry to interrupt you, but would that require you to have the trackers on the opposite team as well, or no?
Well, it wouldn't require it. Technically, you don't need to have trackers on the opposite teams. However, it make it much more
because efficient passing and stuff like that, right? Wouldn't it require? Because that's where, right? Wouldn't efficiency relates to kind of the obstacles on the pitch, right? Am I right or no?
You are right in that if the other team is also tracked, it makes the data is far more accurate, and we can drive much deeper insights into this expected pass value. However, even if we're not tracking them, we can calculate an expected pass value based on how successful you are in making passes from that area of the pitch. So we don't necessarily need the exact positions of the opposing team. Although if both teams use our tracker, we have that is definitely helpful in terms of calculating these statistics.
Interesting.
So this is at the individual level. At the team level, what we can do is we can compare how players play in different positions. So, hey, your aptitude as a winger may be higher or better than your aptitude as a midfielder. And well, we can discover that based on what midfielders usually do, what wingers usually do, and compare that to what you usually do. So we can help you sort of find the right position to play in and also select the best player for that position.
So that's really interesting to me, and it wasn't in your pitch. It didn't come out in your pitch. You might have mentioned it, but it wasn't really emphasized.
And so,
because I want to think about the user journey and what you just said, where you need to be. Because when I think about this, right, and software is kind of taking over the world. And I know we've all watched these movies where, there's a bad soccer player and suddenly he comes and he has this moment and he scores the winning goal and he, wins the game and wins the girl, and life is like, we see all those movies. But unfortunately with software now, it's not going to be the case, right? And so when I look at what you're doing, I've watched data science for a very long time. The Dallas Cowboys football team, American football, right? The throwing one, they kind of revolutionized kind of data science. They used to bring these big computers to all the games, and they used to do a little bit of predictive components. This was 20 years ago, okay? When I think about what you're doing, what I wanted to do, because you talked about all of the features, right? You brought all that stuff up. For me, I think it would have been more important to kind of recreate what it would be like to use your product while I'm playing and while I'm training. Two different things, right? Right? Well, how do I experience it? And so for me, and I don't know if your software can do this, but for me, imagine if using, you have everyone has the trackers on. You also have a camera on the field because you do need to know where the opponents are. I think that's important. But your opponents ain't going to wear the tracker because they're not going to give you the benefit. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? I'm not going to, it has to be a value add to one team. The opposite team ain't going to put trackers on so that the other team can get better, right? So we know that, but that can be solved with computer vision, okay? You can have a computer vision there and you can see what's happening. And the way I actually see it is, let's not talk about training. Let's just talk about game time, because that's what matters, okay? You can infer the training. Let's simplify it, but you have this tracker on. It could be an armband, it could be a leg band, whatever you've put it in. And what it does is, as you're playing, there's no need for a coach anymore. Why? Because with the computer vision, the camera looking at the field and all the data, and the fact that you have uploaded a lot of video content of the past games of your opponent, the system and the band on your arm will vibrate to tell you whether or not you're in the right place at the right time, whether you are moving fast enough or slow enough, So again, I'm thinking about me as a soccer player. I'm always the guy that gets yelled at because I'm too slow. Do you know what I mean? Come on, Ash, move, right? Okay. So I'm in the right place. I'm optimally ready to actually have the right energy to complete the task. Because when you think about soccer, I'm calling it soccer, by the way, because we have a lot of Americans here and they're going to get confused. Soccer, it's about knowing where you need to be and making sure Ash has enough energy to be able to run down and complete the play on offense to score the goal, and then also have enough time for recovery. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes. And it should be able to predict. And for instance, if I go run and I got my shot and I'm still running, it'll also vibrate and say, dude, you're out of shape, Ash, calm down, because we need you a little bit later. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, this is what expected goal value is. This precisely your ability to run and score the goal is
Yeah,
what
but does that make sense? But it's real time. It knows Ash's cardiovascular capacity at that point in time, right? Also, it knows how the opposite team is going to play, and it tells me where I need to be, how rested I need to be, and how active I need to be when I'm on, because you're either in soccer, you're either playing or you're recovering. Is that correct? You're either playing defense or striking, or these are the two elements that you go on, right? And that's kind of the way I see the future and what you're doing. Okay. And through that journey, you're creating the most optimal team. Okay. So if you had a football team or a soccer team, the best thing you should do is not actually have me on your team. Okay. But if you have to have Ash on your team because, you're low on players, you might as well have optimized, and then you have an optimal team. Right. And there's no reason for a coach anymore. Do you get what I'm saying? When I think about the future, nothing against people here that want to coach your son or daughter's soccer team when you're young. I'm not talking about you people, right? Please participate as a parent in your children's lives. I'm talking about like when you get a little bit bigger, the coach that's on the field is going to just focus on higher value other things. Do you get what I'm saying? He'll be mapping out plays, but even that, the technology should be able to do it, Right. It should be able to track that, hey, you know what? Their left midfielder is tired, okay? He's tired. He's been running too much. Let's go that way and get in. And then suddenly it's a mathematical equation of predictions.
Right.
Is that what you do?
We do it for your team, not for the opponents.
Of course. No. But have I described what we would do? Does that make sense?
Right. Absolutely. That is precisely what we do, predictive analytics.
And what happens is you put all these components together and you could turn around and say, on average, our teams save or produce one more goal per game. Is that a lot? It's huge. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like if you're able to do that and lower injuries, does that make sense? Right?
Yeah.
When you think about it, right? Score more, right? Defend better, right? And also your team is healthier, right? Because it's going to be like, listen, I'm using me again as an example. Ash is exhausted. Get him off the field because the buildup, right, in his legs. He's going to get injured now. Get him off. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
That's what I think you're doing, right? You're changing the whole dynamic, but it comes back to the coaching component. Does that make sense? The mathematical equation to coaching, right? And changing that paradigm. And obviously this also works for training and all the other stuff you do off the pitch when you're not playing a real game. But can we do that? Does your software do that?
Yes, well, we don't replace a coach. We help coaches make better decisions.
Of course. No. I'm not. I get it, but you get in terms of the use cases, right?
Right.
Does that make sense? You can signal, right? Can you signal and it's because it's done in real time. Real time for me is like I have an armband and I know if I'm doing things in the right way or the wrong way. Is that correct?
Well, I don't think we can communicate with players on the pitch because that is sort of against the rules. So we can't have the up-time pulse or something like that. But what we can do is give captains on the pitch a sort of snapshot of everything that has happened. So let's say they take a water break, or let's say there's a 30-second timeout. Well, they can pick up their phone and get like a summary of all of the highlights, a summary of how much each player has run, what the work rates are. We can also give work rates minute by minute. So you see when a player's work rate begins to fall, that means they're probably tired. We can do a number of things like that. But coaches
you can't hold on a second. You're saying and again, obviously I'm not a good football player and not a good soccer player, but why can't you have an electronic device that's in your shoe or on your arm or whatever? What's wrong with that?
Well, FIFA has a sort of electronic position tracking system
Yes.
standard, and that
Yeah.
standard requires them to wear the player tracker between their
Yeah.
shoulder blades. So they have
Sure.
to wear it on their back between the.
Sure. But you get what I'm
However,
saying?
our tracker is so
Yeah.
small. This is our tracker,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's so small that you could potentially just wear it on an
Of
armband,
course.
and you're not a
Yeah.
professional player. FIFA is not going to
Why
bother
not?
you.
Yeah. You can tuck it in your beard or put it in your turban. I don't know, whatever. There's other stuff you can do for this. Am I right? Like,
Yep.
I'm assuming that that can be done because when I think about what you're doing, the idea of real time, what I just described,
Yes.
that I think is a 2x business, a 3x. It just changes, it transforms it, right? And it's not everyone's playing FIFA. Is that correct? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you talk about amateur, I think the idea of real time and changing the paradigm will really make this happen. And these aren't expensive, right? You have the player tracker and the ball tracker that's 90 euros, correct?
Right. Correct.
Got it. Have you heard of the movie Moneyball?
Yes. Seen it.
You are Moneyball. You know that, right? But you're Moneyball in real time. You're like a real-time Moneyball, right? For those of you who haven't watched Moneyball, it's a movie about a baseball team, the Oakland Athletics, in the I think it was early 2000s, and they realized that they could use statistics to decide which players they need to draft, and they did really, really well, right? Can I pitch your idea back to you?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. I want to pitch as I'm hearing it and where, you know what I mean? Based on what we spoke about. Okay. You need $1 million, right?
Right.
What are you going to do with the $1 million?
We're going to spend 300,000 on capital investments. We're going to spend about 50,000 to set up a factory and 250,000 to improve our industrial designs for manufacturing. I'm talking about technology manufacturing, PCB manufacturing. And the remainder of the money will be spent on salaries and marketing to sort of make sales.
Got it. Got it. All right, let's do this. You get to be investor now. You get to be whoever you want to be, by the way. You don't have to be like a boring investor. You could be Amitabh Bachchan if you want. You can be Amir Khan. You can be anyone. You know what I mean? If you've ever wanted to be anyone famous, you can do that as well. But let's introduce yourself, and I'm going to present the next company to you.
Right. Well, hi, Ash. I'm Raghav Tibarewala. I am a sports investor. I have multiple sports businesses, and I'm very interested in learning about what you do at the next company today.
Excellent. Raghav, as you know, we're all watching World Cup now, and soccer, football is a beautiful game. But we think now in 2022, we have an opportunity to revolutionize the beautiful game. And what we've done is we are a smart sports company. We've created a very intelligent tracker, a very small device that we put into every ball, and it's tracked. Every player is tracked, and we have the ability to transform how soccer is played. And we do this using analytics. And so what happens is with these trackers, every player is tracked. We look at their past data. We have competitor information via our cameras. And then the soccer pitch turns into a game of mathematics. We track the individual, and through vibrations, we tell them where they need to be on the pitch optimally to be most effective on defense and offense. We tell them how much recovery time they need, when they should be running faster, when they should be running slower, how they operate amongst themselves as a team. And we create this all in real time. It's basically like having the smartest personalized football coach talking to every single person on the pitch at every moment in the game. What this does is it changes the dynamics. You score more. We've seen our ability to score more. There's an improvement, 20% improvement in scores, 30% improvement on defense. But more importantly, we keep the players healthier because we track how they're doing, and we want to make this happen. This is going to revolutionize soccer. but it's also going to be something that we can utilize in American football, in rugby, and all other sports. I have a background in IoT and have developed all the components. We're ready to rock and roll. We need $1 million to take this to the next level and bring a real-time Moneyball experience and real-time data to the pitch and transform the beautiful game. I'd love to show you how it works and maybe get on a soccer pitch and kick some balls and show you how you can improve your game as well. Thank you very much.
That was a great pitch, actually. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to take some pointers from this. We get the videos from this session.
Of course, right? No problem. No problem. Of course, that's this pitch is your pitch. But does that make sense?
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what you're doing. You're going to transform the game. You know, that's what you want to say. It's not just about slight improvements, but the way I look at this, if you can do that, you know, this idea of the three things, you know, it's always good to introduce three things, you know, improve scoring potential, improve defense, okay, right? Like that element, and then the health of the people. Do you know what I mean? You know, and you know, it should know. And I know I keep on bringing myself in, but it's like, oh, Ash is slow. He forgot to stretch. Get him off the court because he's going to pull a muscle, okay? And then he's going to have all sorts of other issues, right? Does that make sense? But you're transforming the game, this idea of a real-time Moneyball. It's not just about past history predicting the future. It's past history, what they're doing right now, and how you're going to transform the game. Right?
I understand. Awesome.
Hopefully you found value. I'm glad, and absolutely, we will send you the recording. And congratulations on transforming it. I love the timing right now because everyone's watching World Cup, right? And everyone is wondering why Germany didn't do well and why this game, I mean, but you know what? They need your software, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, right, it's a team sport, right? And so once you start to build those elements together, and you know, I talked about this idea of, it's like having the smartest human on the planet talking to you real time, telling you exactly what to do. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't happen in the real world, right? And that's why you can use technology, and once they understand it, and then it starts to become a beautiful orchestra of, you know, the team is completely in sync. If you think about it, you know how you've used the word in sync, you know, I feel like our team is in sync, you know, that's what you do. Right. And I think that's going to be amazing. Right. There are some questions in the chat for you as well. So have a look at that if you'd like. And again, congratulations as part of the Hyper Accelerator. We're going to see how we take this to the next level. All right. Thank you.